Welcome, guys, to the first ever episode of Winehouse Tonight. Yes, we have a terrific first show for you tonight. Dan Kondo is here. Yeah, give it up. Draft analyst Eric Fisher-Keller and I are going to break down some of the picks from this year's draft. Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to check in with the Winehouse insider, Matt P., and see what he's got for us this week. All right? Yeah, absolutely. But before we get to all that, let's take a look at last week's matchups, all right? The big story out of the Winehouse this week is that Dan Bennett is actually good at fantasy football. Yeah, absolutely. Who would have thought 32-year-old Larry Fitzgerald would be the guy to bring him the respect he deserves? Dan's third straight win came against Austin Einstein, who lost two key players in the matchup. He lost his first-round pick, Ben Roethlisberger, and he lost human version of a camel toe, LaShawn McCoy. Eric Fisher-Keller also improved to 3-0 this week in a high-scoring matchup with Mike Johnson. Immediately after the game, Mike sent out 200 separate offers for Jonathan Stewart and spent the whole night checking his phone. They're probably busy, you know. They'll respond. Christian Montero got his first win of the season against Dan Kondo. So yeah, pigs can fly also. And finally, Aaron Carney had a very convincing victory over Zach Rawl, not just in fantasy football, but just in general life decision making. Thanks so much, guys. We have a great show for you tonight, so don't go anywhere.
Hey Aaron, here's what I have for you this week. Trade talks have fallen through between Mike Johnson and anyone with an IQ over 13. Dan Bennett announced Thursday that if he wins the league, he plans to donate his winnings to a local charity and the top of the trophy to Zach's asshole. That's gonna hurt. And Austin Lopeman got engaged to a suicide hotline operator who spent 3.5 hours statistically justifying his Sam Bradford draft pick. We wish you the best luck with your relationship, man. Thanks for checking in. I'll see you next week.
Great stuff as always, Matt. Our first guest tonight is a veteran fantasy football player and a two-time Winehouse runner-up, and he's going to help us break down this year's draft board. Please put your hands together for our draft analyst, Eric Fisher-Keller. All right, Chris, so here's what we're going to do, man. We got the draft board here. We're going to break it down team by team. Just going to see how everyone did and how we think everyone's going to do going forward. So to get started, what do you think about Mike Johnson's team?
Well, to be honest, Mike initially screwed himself from the get-go by trading his third-round pick to Kondo.
Absolutely right.
That was just dumb.
Yeah, it was a devastating blow.
Although AP, top 5 leading rusher, he also made a great pick in Jason Witten, but later dropped him. He messed up, Mike.
Yeah, that was a waste.
However, his best pick is Stevie Johnson.
Yeah.
Because he's going to eat in that system.
I couldn't agree more, man. So, looking at the rest of his team, what do you think he deserves as a draft grade? Looking at our options here.
Well, there's not much to see.
There really is.
Throughout these late rounds. So, Mike, I loved it, but I'm sorry. I'm going to have to give you an F.
Yeah, good luck with that. All right, cool. All right, an F for Mike Johnson. I mean, it was well-deserved. You can't say that you're surprised, guy. All right, moving on to Christian Montero's team. Christian started off strong initially, but then he kind of hit a wall, I think. Made a couple of poor choices, going 2 tight ends before a wide receiver 2. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that was pretty bold. However, he did grab Latavius Murray late.
That's true.
Who's going to be great all year.
How about some of these later picks, man? I mean, Devin Funchess is a name that really stands out to me.
Where is he? Have you seen him?
I don't know where the hell he is. I don't even know who he plays for.
Kendall Wright has been good.
Kendall Wright has been good.
He snuck in there.
Yeah, man. There's a couple names. There's a little bit of potential down there, but overall, I think that it's just a bunch of scrubs. So what do you think for Christian?
For Christian, I'm going to give him C+.
C+ is a good move, I think.
C for C.
C for C. I think that the early core of that team, and once Dez gets back healthy, I think they'll be able to put some wins together. Yeah. But right now, clearly, the struggles
He's going to struggle down the stretch.
That's true. All right, Austin Einstein is a team that I did not really care for after this Brandon Marshall pick going down. But you think that there's a couple of studs in this roster?
Yeah, I mean, Amari Cooper, Rookie of the Year.
Oh, for sure.
Sign him up right now.
Yeah, the guy's playing out of his mind.
And it sucks Big Ben got hurt, but what are you going to do? Yeah. T.Y. is going to be good. McCoy, maybe a bust. However, Brandon Marshall is going to be great.
Yeah. He does have a pretty solid core, 4 or 5 players, but with the blow to Roethlisberger, I just don't see him being able to continue that high level of quarterback play that you need.
That's tough. I mean, Teddy is his QB2. Can you trust him every week?
That's true. The consistency issues are there. But, I mean, overall, he does have a good core. What do you think? Maybe a B?
Yeah, you know what? Let's give him a B.
Sure. All right, Stein. Not bad. Now on to Austin Lopeman. Austin Lopeman was rightly regarded as having the worst draft the night of the draft. But let's take a look at this. There are some big names here. Jarvis Landry is a notable late-round pick.
Jarvis Landry is excellent. Alshon, slow start, but he'll pick it up once that offense gets healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not crazy about Calvin in the second. I think you took him before a lot of other really established receivers.
Yeah, looking at the other names down here, you see Demaryius, you see Julio Jones. I mean, Calvin is a name, and he's been there before, but this year...
You got to let go. It's not 2009 anymore.
Exactly. And the Sam Bradford pick, obviously, is one that everyone's been talking about. He felt really confident taking him on draft night, but it hasn't really worked out so far.
I mean, he was talking him up like a true Eagles fan.
Exactly.
And I haven't seen much.
Sure. So what do you think, looking at this roster, what kind of grade does he deserve?
You know what? He's going to get a C+.
Yeah, man. It's not terrible, but it's a team that could win some games.
He's got a couple key pieces, but
Exactly.
he needs the boys around him.
Over to Zach Rawl now. Zach Rawl does not have a good team.
That's agreeable.
It's just plain and simple. Zach, I mean, Eddie Lacy, Peyton Manning, and Gronk. Those are 3 great pieces. Eli Manning is a good filler. Kelvin Benjamin obviously was a devastating blow. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that hurts that Kelvin went down, but like you said, he nailed his first 3. Gronk, best pick on his team by far in a third. That was really late to get him. Eli has been solid.
Mm-hmm. But without Kelvin, he is really strapped at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, there's not much. When you're starting Anquan Bolden and Doug Baldwin week to week, you got problems.
Yeah, and obviously the hit to Sammy Watkins was pretty huge.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think for Zach as a
Zach,
draft grade?
He's going to have to take this D+.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. It's a tough spot in the draft picking 6, but I think he should have been able to make it work. Over to the sophomore, Will Burr. This was only his second draft, but I think he really nailed it early on.
William had a great bounce back draft. Le'Veon Bell is the Julio Jones of the running back position.
No, I couldn't agree more. And the guy gets the targets, he gets the runs, and he gets the plays. They built the offense around him.
With Big Ben out, he's going to get 30-plus touches again.
Absolutely. And his quarterback duo is not the worst I've seen. Ryan Tannehill and
top
Phillip
5.
Rivers. Yeah, he's got the upside, and Rivers has the consistency, and that's really what you need in your QB 1-2 combo. Other than that, down here, a couple receivers that are pretty questionable. You got Brandon LaFell and Torrey Smith. What do you think about those guys?
If you have Torrey Smith on your roster, you need to pay more attention. Because he is not roster worthy.
True that, man. It's a very Will Burr type of team, looking at guys like Joseph Randle, looking at Amir Abdullah and Chris Ivory, all late, consistent running backs and guys that I know Will loves having on his team. So what do you think for Will his sophomore year?
For Will, you know what? Last year, I would have gave him a C-. This year, he graduated to a B.
Oh, good for him, man. Getting that GPA up. Good for you, Will. All right, over to Dan Bennett, a guy who you think did really well this year.
Dan Bennett, you really nailed it.
Yeah, he came in early. He got 3 core pieces. You got Wilson, you got Forte, and you got Green. But then the risk on taking Tom Brady in the 4th round, something that a lot of people thought he would hang in a little later with the 4-game suspension, but that got thrown out the door, and that was huge for him. And then also later on, you got to look at this Larry Fitzgerald pick is just sticking out like a sore thumb.
You know what? Larry's been doing it for years, and he may have a career year in this offense.
Yeah, and it's absurd to think about, but if they could stay healthy, all the pieces are there for the Cardinals to be successful.
The great ones tend to play later.
So with this dominant core, what do you think Dan Bennett deserves at his draft grade?
Dan Bennett, I am very impressed. I no longer think Jesus on your side. I think you just know what you're doing, and you're getting an A-.
All right, over to Dan Condo. Dan Condo got that extra 3rd-round pick, and if you ask me, he really nailed it. But the way things have panned out since then have not been terrific.
I don't know what Condo did. He's a great guy. He's got to get his karma up because Tony Romo and Jordy Nelson.
Exactly.
Top 2 picks.
Yeah, first 2 names on the board. You really can't afford to lose them, and we're going to talk to Condo about that later on. But he really bounced back later on. He got Matt Ryan with the extra pick. Emmanuel Sanders, Greg Olsen, and Julian Edelman, all key pieces.
This stretch right here is just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. And when Arian Foster gets back, which maybe could happen this week, he could really make
Arian
a difference
Foster's
in that
Arian
offense.
Foster.
Exactly. All right, so what do you think for Condo?
For Condo, it's a shame, like we said, with the injuries. It would have been upwards of an A+ probably, but when you lose your top 2 picks, you sink to a B.
Yeah. And a B is not the worst.
No, it's not.
So
It's
he's
still a great
lucky
roster. Kondo, I believe he'll be in the playoffs, and you never know what's going to happen. So.
I couldn't agree more. All right, over to my roster. Aaron, I had a pretty decent draft, I think. I grabbed some big names early on, but then C.J. Anderson is really hurting me.
CJ hurt you, however, you made up for it immediately by taking Carson Palmer, who is a stud.
Yeah, Carson Palmer might actually be my favorite.
Yeah, I would honestly say you have the best quarterback tandem in the league.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot coming from you. The running back position obviously has been struggling thus far, but my wide receivers, you have to admit, are one of the top.
Your wide receivers will pick up the slack. Demarius, Odell, Martavis, Allen Robinson really stepping up.
So there's 2 grades left here. Which one? I guess the real question is, which one do you think you deserve?
Which one do I think I deserve?
I mean, looking at your team, we have this A+ and this B+ here. And looking at your team, you got guys like Andrew Luck, Julio Jones, Randall Cobb, DeAndre Hopkins. It's very rare you see a receiving core like that. It's even rare that you see a guy like Keenan Allen in the flex position. How did you manage that?
You know what? I read a lot about Keenan Allen in the offseason, and he rededicated himself to his craft. He is eating well. He dropped the cheesesteaks, and it's paying off.
Good for him, man. And also, I mean, Giovanni Bernard is a guy that really snuck in there late, but he's been killing it early.
You know what? People like to sleep on Gio, but I believe in him. He's got talent. It's in his blood, and he's going to be running back 2 early all year. I couldn't agree more, man. And that's why I think you deserve this A+ up here. I think you really took the #1 pick in this draft and nailed it, and I'll be happy to take the B+ hit. I mean, like I said, I believe I have a good core, but there are some pieces missing. You're going to be there at the end of the year. I look forward to seeing you there, man. Yeah. Eric Fisher Keller, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me. Hey, man, anytime. Appreciate it. How about that? Eric Fisher Keller, ladies and gentlemen. How great was that? Wow, what a treat. All right, our guest tonight is a 5-year veteran of the Winehouse. He is a 5-time winner of the Nice Guy Award, and he has started off the season horribly. Things could not have gone more wrong for this guy, but he's here to let us know that he is staying confident, and he's ready to take this league by storm. Please put your hands together for Dan Kondo! Dan Kondo, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, man. We got these mugs. Yeah, we got the lights going. It's a real swell.
It was really convenient getting here too. I live like right down the hall.
No shit, man. That's awesome. Did you guys know that? That's terrific. All right, Dan. I'm happy you're here, Kondo.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I wanted to talk to you, man, because you have had a really tough first couple of weeks coming into the season. You lost 2 of your top 3 picks. How do you recover from something like that?
Well, luckily, I feel like I drafted a good team, and I feel like I have some good depth. So that helped. But, you just got to be on the lookout, for free agents. I'll be all right. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, you came out, you got that week 1 win after losing Jordy Nelson. When you lose a guy like Jordy Nelson, that's a huge hit to any team. And then you lost Romo after that, after the win. And that, since then, that's been 2 straight losses. That's got to have had a massive impact on your team, right?
I mean, not much is going to change on my team. We're going to stick to what we're doing. I will say that. But, it's tough. But we're still in it. We're still competing every week. So that's all I can ask for.
I think a huge benefit to the depth that you were talking about on your roster was that trade you made with Mike Johnson before the draft even began. Did you want to talk a little bit about how that went down?
I don't know if I approached Mike or he approached me, but somehow we got to talking about it, and Mike offered a really good deal, so I couldn't pass it up, and it showed draft day, but things have happened since then.
That's true. But I think you're gonna work it out. I think you have one of the better rosters in the league right now. Still sitting pretty high in the standings. But on a side note, not Winehouse related. Speaking of losses, you also took a massive loss in the Madden Super Bowl a couple of days ago to another member of the league, Eric Fisher Keller. Did you want to say anything about that? It was a tough game. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend, but I did see the highlights.
It was a good game. I don't know. He came out swinging. I couldn't score much, and I started coming back, and I don't know.
But you won't let it happen again, right?
Not again. Today we played today, and we saw what happened. So.
That's true. That is true. All right, so I know it's still early. We're entering week 4 tonight. What do you think about who are some of the best and worst teams in the league that you've seen so far? Some of the better rosters and some of the guys that you think might be in wheel contention.
Dan Bennett has a really good team.
Sure, we were talking about him earlier.
He's scoring a lot of points.
Yeah, he's a guy that a lot of people have not respected in the league. He's made the playoffs every single year.
Mm-hmm.
He always starts off with a strong record in the top 4 of the standings, I would say. But where Dan Bennett struggles is later in the year. His team starts to dry out. Guys like Larry Fitzgerald, you can't really expect them to continue to produce, right?
I mean, we'll see what happens. It's a long season, but anybody could get hurt. Anybody could get, worse throughout the season. But, I mean, other than his team, I haven't really paid attention to other people's teams as much as just paying attention to mine. But I would say Logan's team is kind of, what's his record?
He is 0-3.
0-3.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is not notched a win yet.
Yeah, that receiving core.
It's nice.
Yeah.
But is it going to be enough, And it's missing Alshon Jeffrey right now, and we all miss him. We'll see. We'll definitely see. I personally think that Zach Roll is a real early contender for the wheel spin. I just think he lacks depth at every position. Well, let me tell you this. His wide receiver 1 right now is Anquan Bolden. His wide receiver 2 is Doug Baldwin. And any other name after that is worse. So there's that. His running backs last week on the road against Aaron Carney, he brought out Alfred Morris, and he brought out Isaiah Crowell and opted to leave Eddie Lacy on the bench. Now as a fantasy GM, what are your thoughts on that?
None of them seem like great fantasy options. I mean, like, they're decent, power backs, but I don't know. I prefer the, Matt Fortes of the world, getting all those catches and stuff.
For sure. The running backs that remind you of a younger version of yourself. Is that correct?
I wouldn't go that far. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, we're going to play a game that we're trying to start to do on the show a little bit more. We're going to play some games with the guests. And this game is called Winehouse Would You Rather. So it's just a couple, would you rather questions based on some of the things that have happened in the Winehouse. And I'm just curious about how you feel about some of these, all right? So the first one last year, Christian won. He won on Christmas Day. He didn't win on Monday or Tuesday. He won on Christmas Day 3 days later. When Fish woke up, he had found nothing under the tree except second place. So would you rather experience that feeling of losing to Christian Montero on Christmas morning?
Stack corrections and stuff?
On stack corrections, correct. To a Ryan Tannehill sack that turned into a tackle for loss. Or would you rather kick a brick wall and stub all of your toes simultaneously while wearing nothing? Which pain do you think would be worse?
I would stub my toes.
You would just take the hit?
I felt so bad for Fish when that happened.
I also was grieving.
I was like, oh my goodness, like, that's a terrible way to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And it was. But...
And you know how we feel, so
I was like congratulating him.
Oh yeah, we all were.
Yeah.
We were all super ecstatic about it. He's a friend of the league, friend of the show, so it was tough to see it go down like that.
No, I'd take the toes. I just, I'd break them if I had to.
Dan Conner, ladies and gentlemen, anything to win.
His toes.
All right, so what do you think would be a more I want to say awkward, but I also want to say not obviously going anywhere type of situation? Would you rather negotiate a trade with Mike Johnson, or would you rather just go on a really expensive, horribly awkward date with this girl that you knew was just really bad in the head, had nothing to bring to the table, and yet it was so expensive, the meal, and you still had to pay for it, and you knew nothing was coming afterward? Which one do you think would be less progressive?
I feel like I've had success dealing with Mike. It's not too terrible. I've pulled off at least 2 trades.
That's true. You really might not be the guy to ask that question, because you're someone who can actually finagle Mike Johnson into
somehow
just dumping players onto your team. So the last one here is a Zach Rawl question, and we just talked about his roster a little bit. So knowing that roster and knowing the level of fantasy football he's currently playing, Would you rather get to the playoffs, second round, and just get absolutely shit on by that roster? Just get blown out. Your team can't do anything, and his team is just putting up 300-400 points. Or would you rather just get shit on by Zach in a bedroom setting? Literally shit on you. Which one do you think would be worse for you?
I might have to take the actual loss.
That's a really tough loss.
The other two, I picked the fantasy option, I think, if I recall.
I think you're going to break your feet.
I'm taking the loss. That's what I'm saying. I would rather have the fantasy, the win. But
in this one, that's understandable. That would be pretty bad. Zach, he probably has some real mess. Never mind, I'm not going to get into that. All right, Condo, so we talked for a little while now. Is there anything else you want to add before we get out of here? I don't want to keep you. I know you got work to get to.
No, I'm just glad to be here. Glad to be in another, year of the Winehouse.
True that, man.
And it's early.
Preach.
There's still a lot of time to go. Good luck, everyone. See you when the playoffs start.
3-time league nice guy, Dan Condo. And he ends on a strong note. It's good to see you, man. Thanks for coming out. All right, that is all the time we have for Winehouse Tonight this week. Thank you so much to Dan Condo, Eric Fisher-Keller, and Matt P. for helping out. Thanks to Josh for the intro. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Good luck with your matchups. Peace out.